How's it going, everyone? We are back with another weekly watch list. Thank you so much for checking in. Again, this is about a year straight of making these watch lists. So if you have been watching them from the start, obviously, I appreciate you a ton. I doubt that's very likely. If you're tuning in now, thank you so much for checking it out. I do appreciate it greatly. So without further ado, let's hop right in. So we're going to be covering SPY, QQQ, ES, NQ, IWM, and SPX, okay? So starting off with SPY, okay? My main level I'm going to be watching for is this 565, right? For like a bounce. It does look like we're pulling back a little bit. We are now under the 4-hour 21 EMA, which has been super clutch in my trading in the last week or so, just using it for bounces and such. Shout out to Brandon Trades for that as well, under the 1 hour as well. So now that we are under that 21 EMA, you can see we pushed back up and tested it and the prior day close, and we're kind of like getting under this trend line here, which, as a trend line doesn't mean that much. I am a little bit more bearish, if you will. So this 565 looks like a good area for a bounce, right? Check out that 4-hour candle we had last time we were there. Previous all-time high, turn to support. So we do have a little bit of support outside of that on the way down. So we have our previous day low at this 570 area. Under that, I do have this 568.92, 567. Now, these previous day lows, that's why they're marked. This was a previous day low. This was a previous day low. This was a pre-market wick, so I'm keeping that as well. These are more like profit targets to me. If we break below 570, I highly believe that we are headed towards 565, but these could act as, we could bounce here, we could bounce here, we could bounce here. This is where we could set that kind of higher low, especially if this is our last big low. Our next higher low might be somewhere here in this area, but I will be using them as trim areas, if you will, as they definitely could be potential areas of support on the way down. So we do have this 1-hour trend line as well that I'm watching on SPY and ES and QQQ and NQ, right? So we take this point here all the way, extend it right all the way across. We are now kind of in that area now, or we kind of Sunday evening here. So we're going to see what happens in the pre-market and against a trend line though. So, it's not huge, but so I'm not putting too much faith into it, but I did like the way it looks. It does look like, lower high, higher low, higher low, higher low, higher low, higher low. So, it does look decent. So I'm keeping it on the chart. So ES is obviously going to look very similar. I do have that trend line as well. You can kind of see in the futures world, we wicked it, broke below. Now we're kind of retesting it now, so we will see. Under that previous day low, if you will, again, we have this wick here, could act as support. We have this one as well, or that 565 area on ES is going to be here at 57.27, right? That previous all-time high. That's probably going to line up with that 565 area, somewhere in this zone here. So heading over, also real quick, almost forgot, we have supply. So as far as rejects go, I'm only looking at bounces. We do have supply up here on ES, right? We have this 4-hour supply. In that 4-hour supply, we have 2-hour and 1-hour supply. That's what the dotted lines are. So taking it back to SPY real quick, that's SPX. We'll head to that next. Taking it back to SPY real quick, we do have the same thing, that's supply. So we have the 4-hour supply, and then I believe it's 2-hour or 1 hour. I need to see. 4-hour supply, and then I believe it's 1-hour supply. So let's just double check. Yep, and then our 1-hour supply marked in that red dotted line. So over the previous day high, we have that supply right there. So I really am not going to be looking at longs unless we get over 575, and it's a whole psych number as well. So heading over to SPX, previous day high, previous day low. Areas I'm looking for, 5,800 is our next whole psych number. It also lines up with this Fibonacci extension at 5808 and 5818. But my next big bounce area is probably going to be 5,700, and that probably lines up half decently well. That could be a nice lower high on SPY, and it lines up with one of the wicks on SPY. But below that, what's going to line up with that previous all-time high is going to be this 5673 area. So we also have this gap to the downside as well at this 5662. That obviously could also be in that area as well for SPY, that 565. So under previous day low, again, we have just these lower highs. So I am keeping them on the chart as they could be potential areas for a bounce. And if I'm in a short position here, I'm going to be cautious of these wicks, okay? So heading over to QQQ and NQ. So obviously very similar look. We have this trend line as well. 1, 2, extend it right. We are not testing it though as well. We have the previous day low here pretty much smashed up against this other previous day low. So, if we break below this previous day low, there's a pretty good chance we're going to break below 484 as well. So below that, I do have 480 and 478. We do have supply up here as well. We have 4-hour supply on QQQ. So 4-hour supply would mark the first level. Because if we get over previous day high and we reject in this area, I'm going to look for a rejection first at 492. And then we have 1-hour supply here at 493. It's either 1 hour or 2 hour. Just want to double check. And I only use a 2-hour time frame, by the way, for supply and demand. Yeah, it's 2 hour. Look at that. I mean, come on, man. That's fucking crazy. I believe this was Tuesday, the day that no, it's not. It looks like it was, I guess, Thursday here. And I believe that was a 61 fib that we rejected perfectly. Guys, anytime you see a candle like this, and I actually missed this in my analysis, I'm not perfect, obviously, but anytime I see a candle like this, you have a candle on a higher time frame, 1 hour, 4 hour, 2 hour, I'm looking for a fib. This is as impulse move as you're going to get. And I'm looking for a fib here. So we take this to here, look at that, 61 fib rejected to the penny. So unfortunately, I did miss that, but man, that would have been so fucking epic. I actually only missed it because on that trading day, if I take it over to the 15-minute, I did have a short position here that I stopped out too early, only for it to move after, if anyone can relate to that, obviously. So we had a pre-market high here at this level here, and then of course we came up and we swept the pre-market high here on the 5 and 15-minute. So I was looking for a lower high on the 5-minute time frame. So this was my entry here. So we had this 5-minute, this was like a news candle as well a little bit. So we made some aggressive move away. We retested. So this 5-minute candle here was my entry with my stop loss just at like right over this candle here, the candle that I enter on. But in reality, it should have been like a break of structure. I believe I actually put it at this, but the option chain was moving super strange. And like at the price here was 81, but I just had a bad fill and my fill was 87. So I put my stop loss at 79. So it was, very small stop. I did stop out for a very small amount of money. I was only using 2 contracts. But we never, my analysis would always tell me like we would need to see a break of structure. So either this wick here, which is kind of far away. So on the option chain, it was like the price of the contracts would be like way more than like a 15% loss for me. But it was very strange. I had a hard time setting my stop at that point because I entered here. It gave me like an 87 fill, but the price here was like only 81. It was very strange. I don't want to explain it too much, but it was very confusing. It was very strange. And anyways, I ended up missing this move down. So I got stopped out, I believe, like on this wick here. Didn't even go above, this wick here as well. So just poorly managed by me on the risk side of things. And right after that, as you can see, after that lower high on the 5-minute, after grabbing liquidity, we had a nice move down. It did take a little bit, but even just this would have been a nice catch. So that was a shame. I think it was actually on SPY, by the way. Maybe that's what it was. Now I think I was on SPY. Yeah, so we had this. We pre-market high. I was looking for a lower high up here. I think I entered like on this candle here, this lower high, and this is the move down that I missed. But I got stopped out one of these wicks here. Just super frustrating. So anyways, back to QQQ. As far as supply and demand, I think I did cover that as well. Again, we have that trend line. Biggest areas of demand for me is really going to be down here at this 478 as we had a nice wick here. So that's what I'll be looking for if we do get under the previous day low. But we do have 480 on the way. NQ obviously is going to look very similar. NQ, my only really bounce area, we have the same supply, is if we do get under this 2166, my next area of like a potential bounce is going to be here where we had this previous high, and then we kind of like swept these areas a bit here. So this zone, taking it down to the 4-hour, it was a previous supply. It's not demand here, but we did sweep the area a lot. So, somewhere around here, we could make a higher low. If not, then this would be my next like level, would be this 19,863. So let's wrap up then with IWM. So I have not traded IWM in a minute. Wow, check that out on the 4-hour. Looks like another kind of flag as we saw here on the 4-hour. This was a big channel we had and we broke out massively. So kind of getting a similar vibe here. With IWM with this channel. So again, I'm not going to be trading IWM this week as well, most likely. I've really just been focusing on QQQ and SPY. So I am going to map this. I am going to draw this out again because that last one obviously was pretty epic. So I just want to make it like really, really faint lines. That way it's not like, cloudy on my charts, things like that. So that'll be interesting to watch. But as far as zones, levels, things like that go, let's head over the 1 hour. Previous day high, previous day low. Previous day high is very close to this 223 as well, this other previous day high. So we do have that marked. Above that, we have 223 again. So it's IWM. It's not as big as the other indexes. So the levels are going to be closer together. Below the previous day low, support 218 and 217. But I am going to be watching this fib. So we have this pivot low to this pivot high. 61 fib lines up really well with this 212 area, this previous resistance turn support. So I will be looking at that, or this 50 fib that lines up pretty nicely with this wick that we had here as well. So this 215, right? And that's, of course, if we get out of this channel. So that's what I'll be looking for on IWM. As far as supply and demand go, I'm not seeing any here, anything recently. On the 4 hour, we can head over to the 2 hour though. Let's see, up here maybe. Not quite. Any demand here, let's see. No, not much. So again, we'll take it down to the 1 hour real quick as well. No, definitely not. So that's what I'm going to be watching for on IWM. I'm sticking to the key levels and zones, previous day high, previous day low. So we come up here, maybe we reject somewhere in this trend line, previous day high, take it back down to the prior day close or previous day low, something like that. All right, we are in these ranges here, so we will see what happens with IWM. We obviously had massive daily supply up here, and when we came up, we rejected it pretty well. But that does look like a pretty nice flag going on here, so that looks pretty good on IWM. So this could be a potential to maybe, if you were going to swing. But again, we do have this massive supply up here, so we really need to get over that. But man, outside of that, if I take it to the weekly, there's not a lot up here. You know what I mean? So I have a couple levels, but it's been so long before I even got into trading. So above this supply, it looks like a pretty good shot to the all-time high. So that's going to wrap it up. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you did enjoy, please consider dropping a like, dropping a comment. And again, I'm wishing you all a great week inside and outside the markets. Peace.